everyone, and welcome to our October 2025 ITE Greater Vancouver Section event. And my name is Zheng Luo, and I'm currently serving as a treasurer for our section today. We're excited to host Yilan Wang from Transnormis Solutions, who will be presenting on advanced travel information and traffic management system in BC and across Canada. So before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you from Vancouver, which is located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory on the coast Salish people, including the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. As we gather virtually, I invite everyone to take a moment to recognize the significance of the land you are joining from. Next, I will share some of our section's upcoming events and other important announcements. After that, we will have Mr. Wang's presentation, followed by a Q&A session. Through the webinar, I kindly ask that you keep your microphones muted and feel free to submit your questions in the chat box. We will address as many questions as time allows. If we are unable to cover your questions during the session, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Wang directly after today's webinar. And firstly, we have several upcoming section events I would like to highlight. On November 18th, we will host an in-person presentation and mixer featuring the R6 Rapid Bus project with TransLink. This will take place at a Funk Coffee Bar in downtown Vancouver. Please save the date. Registration details now is available on ITE's website. And in December, there's no specific section events, and we recommend you attend ITE Canada's virtual technical symposium on December 3rd. You can find the details on ITE Canada's website, and the registration will open soon this month. Furthermore, in January 2026, we will have our AGM and award night. More details about awards will be mentioned in the next slide, and registration links for this event will be included in our future newsletter. And I would also mention that if you would like to subscribe our newsletters, please email to vancouver@itecanada.org to join. And also, I have a couple of more announcements. The 2025 section awards are now open for nominations. Please check our October newsletter for details and submit your nominations for outstanding projects or individuals by November 7th. We're also calling for nominations for the 2026 treasurer position on our executive team. If you're interested, please feel free to fill out the application form by October 25th. You can find the details for this application on our section's LinkedIn. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Yilan Wang, PNG, Director of Smart Mobility Projects at Transnormis Solutions. Yilan brings over 20 years of experience in ITS and transportation engineer, with a career spanning government and private consulting. He has led many innovative ITS projects across Canada and currently serves on the executive committee of the ITS Canada Board of Directors. With that, I will hand over to Yilan for today's presentation.
Thank you so much, Zheng. I've been doing ITS for such a long time, and particularly travel information, travel management, as well as just playing with all the sorts of technology that we have for transportation. And I'll tell you right now, this is the dream job, right? For an engineer to be able to play with all sorts of toys and help design better systems for a future, it's kind of a win-win situation. Today, I'm going to be talking about what we're doing in BC. My company has been doing in BC recently for traveler information systems. Then we're going to take a look at as well as what we've done in Northwest Territories. And then I'm going to give you a peek into a few other projects from across Canada as well. Okay, so we'll start with travel information in British Columbia. So this is one that we've done in Oak Bay. So this is the Oak Bay Building and Infrastructure website. And if you go on there, you'll see this part, Oak Bay road closures and construction. And the nice thing is there's an integrated map in there, and you can take a look and be able to see what is happening for road closures. So this is a basic 511 system. 511 being, a bit of a anachronism from way back in the day when people that actually phone in dial 511. So this is a product that my company has called Municipal 511, where we allow these municipalities to put in their own travel information regarding closures as they're coming up. So it's not just real time. So it is of course what is happening right now, but they can also put in construction closures for the future as well. In there, this is also integrated with BC Ministry of Transportation's 511 system. So we're pulling in cameras and other incidents and closures that BC Modi has put onto their system, all into one. So this is something that, yeah, if you're looking at, if you're living in Oak Bay, for example, you'd be able to see their travel information. Same thing over in City of Langford. So we can zoom in over here to Langford. And same thing is being able to quickly just click on to one of these items. And now we can see that they're doing a water main installation. Here's this segment over here. We have trail improvements in the works. Take a look at this side over here. You can see that I feel like a weatherman right now. You can see over here we have the next 7 days happening, but you could also look further into the future to find out what's happening in the next 30 days. And again, all being able to look at BC Ministry of Transportation's cameras, all within the same context of being on the City of Langford's website. Coquitlam, here, same thing. We're on Coquitlam's website, and now we can see my integrated solution over here. From this, you could go jump to the site itself, or you could just pan and scan around and take a look. Again, here I can see that there is road closed to local traffic only for this location. I could clear off the now stuff and I can look, oh, this is the stuff happening in the next 30 days. So here's something happening in the future. Again, zoom in, I can see it's from this location to this location. This is from Victoria Drive to Coast Meridian, and I can see that one is going to end in November 7th. So this is when we're talking about travel information in ITS, so this is where I start. There's no point in having all of this technology if you can't at least start with being able to get information out to your traveling public. And so this is one way to get basic information. It gets it in one place. Now there's a bit of an authoritative source to getting information about closures out to your public. Now, first thing you're going to say, I bet there's a bunch of people thinking, right, well, I get that from Waze or I get that from other sources. So the key to this is it's authoritative. It's now coming from the city. Waze and Google Traffic, those things tend to be live systems, but they don't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. So when you're thinking about planning, when you're thinking about constructing something tomorrow or next week, 3 weeks from now, and maybe you want to coordinate your construction with somebody else, you want an authoritative place to look for that information. And that's what we've provided here for Langford, Oak Bay, and Coquitlam as our examples, is one stop to look at what is going to be happening or what is happening right now, as opposed to just simply what's the traffic like. Now, at Coquitlam, there's something else we're doing. I'm going to take you through this a little bit step by step, taking you through, here's my basics. What else can we do with this? So first, you have your ability to get information into one place, but what if we can do more with this? So with this, for example, the nice thing is you can also have other municipalities join in and provide more information as well. and seeing all of this information. You can go to the public site instead of being on that little pop-up window within Coquitlam's website, and now I can see further information in more detail. Again, I can look through different layers. I can check out cameras, road conditions, road restrictions, cautions. I could get this in English and French. I could see this in a table format. But from here, this is the bcmunicipal511.ca website that we're hosting. This, again, allows for multiple municipalities to join in and provide further information to the traveling public. This side here is the back end of the system. So this is what the operator would end up using, or the city staff would use. And from here, I can not only put in these items, but I can also see other items coming from outside of the sources that I have. So sure, I know that somebody is going to be putting in some construction over here next week, but now I can take a look and see, oh, this is a variable message signboard from BC Ministry of Transportation. Let's see what's on that VMS signboard. So this is from within the city's interface. I can see all sorts of things. I can see cameras, but I can also get in issues, say for example, from Waze. I can pull in those items and see them on here as a different layer. I can have all sorts of other features in here. I can do reports and lists, different map features, create dashboards. I could have some sort of automation, and for example, sending out email notifications. So now when that issue happens, perhaps I want to have a notification sent to certain partner agencies when that construction is taking place, for example, right? So this is just a very brief look at the back end of the system from the city staff point of view. Here's something else that we're doing that's a bit interesting. So these are some railway crossings for city of Coquitlam. And in these, this kind of illustrates, again, one more step. Let's say that I want to bring in some devices. I'm a smaller city. Maybe I have some certain devices that I want to create some sort of automation with. So these locations have TrainFo detectors. TrainFo is detecting when there are approaching trains, and it can also estimate how long the train is going to be interfering with this crossing. So now we know that this crossing over here, here, and here, that they are being blocked off by a train. So automation. What I want to do is take that information. I've got that from a sensor. Let's automatically populate that into my user interface. So as a staff, I can see, boom, right here, there is a crossing that's been closed off due to a train blockage. If I click into it, I can find out more information. I can find out an estimated end time as to when that train is going to clear that crossing. But I can do more with that. I can get that information out to the traveling public. So I could put that on my website, but we can do even more, and we can go one step further and put that into Waze, which is what we're doing here. Is that information goes to the public website and then automatically goes to Waze. Meanwhile, TrainFo also, this part isn't something I've done. This is something I could do, but I could get TrainFo's information and post a automated message to the variable message signboard in here. In this case, TrainFo's got that part handled over to the variable message signboard, allowing the traveling public to see that information. Now, again, once I click onto it, I can find, yes, this is what time that crossing started, is on October 20th at 1:34 p.m. And here's that crossing is blocked by a train. This sort of information, it's not just for traveling public as well. Now you have that information if you are for example, emergency services. And that's actually where we got our start. I'll kind of digress a little bit, talk about Ontario. So in Ontario, we have hundreds of municipalities using our Ontario version of this. The main start of that, I mean, the reason that so many hundreds of municipalities are using it is from the point of view of emergency services. So in emergency services, you're driving over here, you have, say if you have two paths, you got to go around this way around this huge lake, or this way around the huge lake, and time is critical. Well, which way do you go? And you would be able to check out from the authoritative source here, from Municipal 511, to be able to find out which path has construction on it or as a closure. You could also compare that to Google traffic, but if it's a roadway that is not being frequently traveled, it is entirely possible that that roadway could be closed and nobody's reported it yet. So as well as being able to automate things, you now have statistics, you have data. I've pulled up a quick report and I can find out when's the last time this occurred, 27 minutes ago, 32 minutes ago. Here's the different crossings, here's where it occurred, and finding out what days this occurred. Here's a quick dashboard I threw together. Actually, my client over here, City of Coquitlam, hasn't seen this. I finished this probably about an hour ago. And this is just a quick look at, the functionalities you can use with a advanced traveler information system. Pulling up a quick dashboard here, I can see these are the construction issues that are overdue, meaning that these are the ones that were scheduled, but they haven't been closed out yet. So I could say, let me go and contact that particular contractor and see if they're done yet over here. These are my overdue issues. This is a quick look at where the issues are, construction issues, traffic issues currently. So I can see as of right now, there's the traffic issues. I can click on each of those and find out more information about them. This one is kind of interesting. So this one, let me go to this next bit over here. There we go. So this one, when it lights up, that means that there's an active train that's blocking one of the several crossings on this in Coquitlam. So from this, I can quickly see that this started at 8:20 a.m. Updated 3 minutes ago. It provided a update to the time as well. I provide the location over here. But the nice thing is also it's lit up over here. It can start flashing. Perhaps it'll flash for 2 minutes, and it provides you with information that something is happening at this particular crossing. Over here, I can see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week. Here's my statistics, and I can see that the duration was the longest. We had 5 hours of blockage last Friday. I can see that there were a total of 1.9 hours, or sorry, 1.9 days of blockage last week, 309 separate occurrences. Over here, quick little heat map showing me my construction and maintenance occurring in my city over the last year. Here we have concentrations over here, quick little heat map of this. I'm not sure this is what this particular user would want, but the neat thing about this system is the user can configure these themselves. They can quickly create this. This took me about 20 minutes to throw together just for this presentation. So we could easily put together all sorts of different stats based on whatever information is coming in. The question here I just saw from their chat here is, so I live in Coquitlam. How do I get this into Apple Maps or Google Maps? So this is automatically, or at least the train crossings for these 3 train crossings, they are automatically going into Google Maps. As well, we can also put in all of these other ones. They go through, now, Google doesn't necessarily like to just take our data, so we have to put it through Waze specifically, and it kind of takes it with a grain of salt, so it's not quite authoritative. It does understand that, you know, this is coming from City of Coquitlam, so it does go into the system. We have very little control of to what they do with it, whether or not they display it out to the users. But in general, we do monitor this. In general, that information does go out to Waze, and they do get it into Waze. And from there, it's a bit of a black box. They don't tell us what they do with that information, but I believe it does get out to Google Traffic as well. So let's take a look at. Oh yeah. So just a quick. Ooh. 1 second. I seem to be losing my focus on the camera. There we go. So just a quick look at this. We have our train. That is, our train is detected by the sensor, goes into my system, my traffic central system, which comes out to my public site, and then goes out to our city website, but then also comes out to exactly as we were discussing, Apple phones or Google Maps. This can be applied to so much, right? It doesn't have to be TrainFo. We could have this from all sorts of other things, sensors and cameras and other things. We'd be able to get this going through that sort of workflow as well. We can have other things. We can have it going out to Twitter. We can have it going out to Facebook. We could have email alerts, SMS alerts. Let's take a look at what I'm doing out in Northwest Territories of Canada. So Northwest Territories poses a unique problem, and I thought this would be kind of interesting to show you some neighbors up to the north. What are they using? So we're doing the same 511 system up in Northwest Territories, but it's been just white boxed, white labeled, and so now it's called DriveNWT for Northwest Territories. Some interesting challenges here. First, a little bit of background. 1.346 million square kilometers of land. That's a lot of land. And you have a lot of highways. 3,873 kilometers of highways, 27 airports, and 4 ferry ice crossings. And we want to be able to get information to people about all of that. But there's a unique challenge out here. All right, I want you to think about your 5G, your cellular coverage. Here's cellular coverage across Alberta, Saskatchewan, northern BC. What do you think Northwest Territories cellular coverage looks like? There's a little bit over there, a little bit over there. So you have very little cellular coverage. You know, a lot of people are dependent on, say, Starlink. But if you don't have Starlink, you're trying to get information from, say, when you're in Yellowknife, and then you have to have that information and drive for 3 kilometers or 3 hours, let's say, over to some ferry or ice crossing, and you don't have that information along the way. So my point is, you want timely information, because if there's a significant delay to getting that information out there, that really affects residential travelers as well as commercial travelers across Northwest Territories. This is a huge, expansive area to be driving without cellular coverage. So other interesting challenges up there, of course, they have harsh weather, but they also have wildfires, a lot of wildfires. I know you're experiencing a lot of those in BC as well. Winter roads, and particularly ice roads that are can only be traveled during wintertime. Limited cell coverage, as we said, and I mean, every municipality deals with limited budgets. So we're trying to do something economical over here. What we did was we integrated 12 new cameras, 128 road weather information system sensors, and 12 thermistors, soil sensors. This is particularly important for Northwest Territories to be able to determine whether or not the ground is actually stable enough for travel on, and or maybe it's stable enough, but by how heavy the vehicle. Very important for providing that that proper information out to the public, travel information. So this is a quick look again at the behind the scenes. This is the system that they're using. And here I can click on a road weather information system. I can find the temperature over in this location. I can find the relative humidity, wind speed, whatever I want. Here's a camera. I can take a look at a camera and find out what the weather looks like or what the road looks like in that location. But this is one of the thermistors. And here I can find the soil temperature at different depths, as well as the permittivity, how much the water content is for that location. You'll notice that something a little bit different about this as well is they didn't want to just show where the issues are. They wanted to show what roadways are actually open. So here we see green for the good roads. And over here we can see orange, and red. Red means it's closed. Orange means it's got issues of some sort. So again, getting all of that data is important in order to provide engineering judgment as to whether or not that roadway is okay or not. Here I can see the history of the temperature. Again, this is the soil thermistors, and underneath the ground, my weather stations, my station lists over there. Getting here, I'm going to take a look at different soil thermistors, and I can see quickly by time. Here's my historicals as well as my depth and what the stats are for volumetric water content or electrical conductivity at different depths. So it's kind of like the train flow. The thing is that, yes, you have a traveler information system, but why not at the same time hook up to devices? Now you've got a mini traffic management system. You have, if you can hook up to devices, say your variable message signs or your cameras or your sensors, now you have everything in one place where you can communicate to the traveling public, but also get information that you need to inform them the correct information that they need to know. So we've got multiple layers over here that the Northwest Territories can use. Again, now they've got the ferries, we've got advisories, I got wildfires over here, I've got construction and maintenance and management. So it's taking one step beyond what I was showing you in the BC municipalities. Here, they're going to say that the ferry is closed, and I can, over here, I can update information on this construction. And over here, I've got a closed winter roadway, and it's letting the public know that that one is closed. So let's take a look at the public site. So now this is the site as it's perceived by the public. And there you can see it's just instead of Municipal 511, it's DriveNWT. With one click, we're switching over to the French version. And here's my French is terrible, but there's the French descriptions for those things. We can turn off different layers. Turn off the weight restriction layer, or I can turn on the weight restriction layer, decide what am I wanting to look at. The French part is actually a very interesting problem, because one of the big things in this process that they used to have was you have your engineer decide what are the issues. So I know, oh, well, there is some issues over here. There's wildfires, for example, or maybe we've discovered that this particular roadway, due to the current temperature of the roadway, there's weight restriction of 5,000 kilograms or whatever it is. So different engineering staff from all over Northwest Territories are identifying those issues. And then they're providing it in, and this is part of the old way, is provided into the communication staff, who then creates a message around that. And then they also have to send it over to the French translation team, who then takes that initial message and translates it to French. That's a legal requirement in Northwest Territories, who then sends it back to the communication staff to post onto the website. Then they have to go take another step to post that over to Twitter and post it over to Facebook, and then send off your email alerts. There's, you always hear people say, well, there's got to be a better way. So this is the new process. First, the engineering staff identify the issues. Then they pick from drop-down menus, and there's a reason for that. Because then the system takes that, posts it to the website, posts it to Twitter, Facebook, and email in both languages. By picking from drop-down menus, and that's where we kind of revised the entire process. We created all of these drop-down menus and everything so that they're not typing in free text. That skips out that entire step about having to translate it. They pick from drop-down menus, and those are the approved messages that go out to the staff out there. And there's a quick look at the drop-down menus. Here we have icy sections, reduce speed, drive with caution, and then that matches up with the French translation for the same phrase. So that's a quick look at what we're doing in Northwest Territories for travel information. I want to take a peek now at the rest of Canada. There's all sorts of things going on. I mentioned before that we also have the same software for Ontario. So let's take a look across at Ontario. There's Vancouver. Let's go across over here to Ontario and take a look at this mess over here. There is so much data and information. I think there are about 240 municipalities across Ontario using our system. And in here, yeah, we can zoom in and click on something. Let's see, this is coming in from Waze into our system, so that I have that ability to see that information. Here I've got issues and closures. Here I got some rough road advisory. Let's look at something else over here. We've got here we got some construction there, and here we have an emergency shelter. Again, a whole bunch of information that not only can we get that information out to the public, but we can also help to coordinate amongst ourselves, amongst colleagues as well. As well, again, as I mentioned, one of the nice things with such a system is you can use it as a traffic management system as well. So this one over here is a variable message signboard. I can control that signboard, but I can also see the message history of it. And I can also use it for maintenance monitoring. I can find out how many pixels are broken on that signboard. Here's a traffic signal I've integrated in. And now this is live over here. I can see phases 2 and 6 are in green, and I can see the status on that. If I click on there, I can see further information. Let's take a look at the controller. Here we're in the PED states are in don't walk. I've got offset is 0. Let's take a look at the timing plans, coordination plans, time and day plans, make changes to that as well. I can take a look at this for maintenance monitoring, find out, is it going into Flash? When was the last time it went to Flash? How many times has it gone into Flash in the last 3 months? So much you can do with a system like this as a modern system. Now, this gets into even fancier stuff. Here we have LiDAR and micro radar sensors in City of Toronto. So we're the primary traffic management system for City of Toronto, and they're trying out a lot of the cutting edge cutting edge technology such as LiDAR and Smart Micro. Here I can literally see the relative lengths of vehicles. I can see that's probably a bus or a truck over there. That one's probably a bus over here. I can see I can see there's pedestrian over here and there's a bike of some sort. But as it's animated, I can quickly see what's going on in an intersection, the turning movements, the headways, and getting an intuitive sense of what's happening, how far back the queues are running in real time using a system like this. I just saw a question come up. Okay, let's keep going. Now, this is something I'm doing in Ontario for Garden City Skyway. So for this one, there's sensors going along the roadway, but I'm able to pull it into my system. This one's an on-premise solution. The other ones I've shown you were cloud-based solutions. But now I can, again, very quickly see how this roadway is doing. In this case, I've used color coding instead of for vehicle types. I've coded this for which lane they're in. All right, so I can quickly see how the traffic is going. This one's looking pretty good, but if I take a look at this is the same view, but now my system is automatically finding queue and stopped vehicles. So those bright orange ones, those are detections in different lanes. I've got a stopped vehicle over here, a stopped vehicle over here, and a queue building up over here in multiple lanes. So my system is doing automation with this, full automation. It's processing all of that and then going, I'm going to put a message at a variable message signboard for approaching traffic. And in this case, it just says slow traffic ahead. I can program that for all sorts of different things. I could have it say, based on what's happening here, it could be left lane, 1 kilometer ahead, slow traffic, or right lane, 1.5 kilometers ahead, stop traffic. So this is a fully automated variable message system, sign system with queue and warning detection, and that perfect full visualization of this stuff. I mean, I've been doing traffic management for 20 years, and I'm just like, wow, like it'd be so cool to have had that in my traffic management center back 15 years ago. I mentioned maintenance. Again, being able to have a quick dashboard and take a look at what problems there are with the hardware out there, and if a staff has been assigned to deal with it. This is something I'm doing for Halifax. They've got a lane reversal system. Don't focus so much on the lane reversal. The lane reversals are pretty unique. The cool thing about this is having a system where I can build my own interface. I'm not a software programmer. I've got a team of software programmers. I'm a traffic engineer. And what I care about is this user interface intuitive? So this is a lane reversal system. If I want to reverse traffic in this direction, I just push this button. If I want to pause it, I push the pause button. If I want to stop it completely, I push the stop button. If I wanted to change this gate over here, I would click on that gate and that gate would open for me. Having all sorts of safeguards in between for conflict monitoring. I can save some presets over here, and I've got lockout control, so I can take control of the system or lock it out from other people. Here's just a quick animated version of that. This person's going to reverse directions for a Dartmouth-bound bridge, and look at this. Here's a sequence of probably about 50 separate actions that need to take place one after another. We're going to start the lane reversal. We're going to close this lane. We're going to change this sign over here. We're going to change this sign over here and change this signal over here. What's the point of all this? Well, being able to have a system where the engineer can program in a whole bunch of items. Let's say that it's not a lane reversal. Maybe this is an evacuation plan for your city. So you think about all of those things you have to do in the middle of an emergency. Number one, you're never going to remember all those things. And number two, you're going to be tired, you're going to miss something. Imagine if you can program that all in yourself, put them in one at a time, and feed that to yourself so that you see as it's happening, automate some of those actions. That's why I wanted to show you this one over here. As well, being able to create your own dashboards. And in this case, I can see this one's flashing. So that means there's maintenance issues with some critical items. I can see my weather over here. This one turned red, so it's critical. There's a 72-kilometer-an-hour winds over there. Heavy volumes in the Dartmouth-bound direction, medium volumes in the Halifax-bound direction, surface temperature, ice, everything on a dashboard, which, again, that I can build myself as a traffic engineer and have, I could have 12 different dashboards like this, one for different areas of my city. And being able to do automated weather response. You know, when wind gusts go above a certain amount, this thing is automatically posting messages, or semi-automatically, in other words, letting the operator take a look at that message and make sure that it's okay to post it. So I wanted to pause there. You know, I've used up a lot of time, I've thrown a lot of stuff at you. I get really passionate about this stuff. So I wanted to maybe see if there's any questions at this point.
Thank you so much, Yitlan. And that's a great presentation. And like I mentioned in the chat box, feel free to bring more questions there for Yitlan to answer. And if you would like to reach out to him after the presentation directly, you can send an email to him if he can share later. As a host of this one, I probably have a question for now. So you mentioned about things about the dashboard development, and it's great for presenting the information for the people to check the 511 system. But based on your experience, do you think any kind of like a challenge to implementing this type of thing? For example, the quality of the data, or some like a time sensitivity for the or privacy of the data, as also something related to the budgeting to build this type of system. I'm really interested about your past experience related to the challenges.
Yeah, when you're dealing with all sorts of data. So, I mean, first thing I'll address first is the quality of the data. You know, garbage in, garbage out. So the more data that we have coming in of quality, then the better that these dashboards and reports that I can generate are. I guess the second thing, though, I deal with a lot is privacy issues. Privacy, so in general, very, very little data from here is personally infringing. You know, we do as much as we can to ensure that that there's not very much data that's coming in that identifies a person's face. You'll see that's the point in having all those little dots on my map. You can't see a person's face. You can see that you can't even see what kind of car they're driving. Big, small car, or a bike, or whatever else. By taking that type of data and aggregating it, and the more you aggregate it, the less privacy concerns there are. The next thing is also the dashboards, as you mentioned. When I take that and I put it onto a dashboard, it becomes it's filtered out all of the the detailed information, any phone numbers and names associated with things. There's very few things like personal information in here, but in a dashboard level, this is where good dashboard design is something that you design it so that it can be shared to the public. You can be put up in your traffic management center wall, or if you don't have a traffic management center, get a row of monitors and put different ones over there. Frankly, it's this is reality of the situation is when you're working in public service, a lot of times you have to be able to explain things clearly to someone who's not a professional, not a traffic engineer. Maybe it's a city councilor. They might be smart, but they're like, what am I looking at all this data? And that's where you make these dashboards that takes that data and provides it in a user-friendly manner to communicate with them. And now you're going to be able to communicate to them, hey, I'm doing something about that construction. I'm doing something about that congestion. I'm doing something about the safety issues. And look at what I'm doing. And that's where, when they see that you're using the money they've given you well, maybe you stand a chance of getting some more funding to do a better job. So that's kind of my quick thoughts on dashboards.
Thank you so much. That's a great answer. I think there's always kind of like the challenge for developing this tablet dashboard, but also we can see some good examples in reality across the whole country for working on this. Since I haven't seen the other questions, I have another one from myself. Okay, Tim, I bring one. So does this data also get sent to open source locations such as OpenStreetMap?
So very good question. In some cases, in some cases, it is being provided outwards. There is an API out from our 511 system. So it's an API out, not necessarily specifically to OpenStreetMap, so that other people can take that data and do something good with it. City of Toronto has an open data portal, and so all of this data is going out to that as well, again, with the proper filters for privacy as well. Yeah.
Thank you. I have another personal question. So I know right now AI is kind of like a big thing for discussion, and on the day basis, we also use a lot of AI tools as well. Based on your experience, do you think that's going to be the future trend? We can also integrate some like AI functions into the dashboard, for example, like the interacting conversation and generate some ideas, for example, like a
Yes.
ChatGPT type of thing. Yeah.
There's so much discussion about that right now in the ITS community about AI, and some of those discussions are very negative. Some of them are very positive. I'm kind of always trying to look through the middle of this, and I'm exploring the technology. So, first of all, example, interactive discussion. So I have actually built a prototype for a interactive discussion where I just go, hey, over on Highway 4, what kind of issues might there be that have anything to do with weight restrictions? And so I have a prototype that will tell me in words and provide that information. I'm careful. I'm very careful about all this stuff. I haven't released that yet because, I mean, I have no way to do proper quality of assurance with that. I can test out 1,000 questions to start with, and the 1,001 question, it might provide you with just terrible bad advice. I don't know. The thing that I have used this for the most is, for example, prioritization. So I've got in Toronto, City of Toronto, hundreds and hundreds of construction and collisions and maintenance problems. Where do you start? Which maintenance problem should you start with first? Should you fix the problem that's oldest, or do you start with the problem with what you think is the worst problem? So we've worked on an algorithm that actually assesses everything, and I've trained it myself using everything that I know about traffic engineering to go rank these different construction or maintenance issues, and from the best to the worst, or the most critical to the least critical. But then that extra cycle comes in with machine learning, where the operator can disagree with my algorithm and go, actually, I think that's not that bad, and change the order of it. And then the system will actually learn from that. So that's a brand new thing that I'm working on. There's tons of other things in AI interfaces, as you talked about, being able to take massive amounts of data. But there's people who are very, very cautious about this, and people who are like, oh, let's just go all in and let the AI take over the traffic signals. So it's a lot to talk about on that area.
That's great. Thank you for your answer. I see Tim has another one. Building on this AI things with cars having cameras on them, would it not be possible to utilize the data from these cameras to generate a lot of this data? I know the answer privacy, but it could be a condition of the license to operate the vehicle.
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. And so for my company, I don't build any hardware. So I'm reliant on people to build better and better cameras, or in this case, and we have lots of partners out there that are building great systems with AI built into it to provide that data back to us. Now, what my system is doing, and this is where in the architecture makes a big difference. That sensor might be pulling in that there are 523 vehicles here, or there's a broken down vehicle or something like that. Great, but you put it into my system, and my system will make it work with other things, which is, well, let's get that information out to the public in an organized manner, or maybe it has to go through communications channel and be approved before it goes out to here. Maybe we need to put up a variable message signboard. So my system can take over at that point and actually recommend a proper message to put onto a variable message signboard. There's a lot of people in government who'd be very hesitant to let AI take over on that part. So we put it in semi-automation steps where it provides the message to the operator, and the operator reads it and approves it. It might be going out to 12 different message signboards, for example. So that's where the traffic management system comes in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I probably have my last questions, if there's no others. So I was thinking right now on the daily basis, people still like to check the Google map, and once before going outside, check the road conditions, traffic conditions. How could you think about like the branding of the dashboard from what you have done to the general public to make sure like, oh, maybe I can also check 511 or the other like good features compared to the traditional like a Google Maps on the people's habits or on the daily basis?
I think part of that, I think I think that people are going to check what they want to check. And I think that it's probably not great use of taxpayers' money. If I, for example, I'm building this for City of Coquitlam, I'm not going to use taxpayers' money to advertise and tell people you should use my system instead of Google Maps or whatever else. And that's where well, we're a Canadian company. I like to work nicely with other companies. So, I think that providing that information onto the website is probably good enough, good use of taxpayers' money. And then getting that information put out to Waze, to Google, to everybody else is also good use of taxpayers' money. And I think that that's probably where I would pause there on that. I wouldn't want to go too much further than saying, oh, use my system for these purposes, except for certain other situations. And that would be, for example, with Halifax, they have safety issues with all sorts of contractors. So when we're talking about the private contractors and vendors accessing that bridge and there being safety issues, that's where, again, you want to funnel them towards an authoritative source. This is what's happening on this day. Here's where you fill in a application to access this bridge and to do work on this bridge in a nice coordinated manner. And so I think that's the separation. Again, good use of taxpayers' money for this, and this is good enough, I think, for the traveling public.
Thank you so much, Yip. Yeah, I think that's great to have the additional options for the people, besides like using the Google, and also have some option to check the 511 website, get more information from there. I don't see the other questions. Do you have anything to wrap up your presentation? Can pass the time for you.
I think one thing I was going to mention is like, and this is kind of taking off my hat from my company and going to my hat as board of directors for ITS Canada. One of the things, like I say, I'm very passionate about ITS and traffic management systems, new technologies. I highly encourage people to go to things like ITS Canada. We've got a big conference coming up I'm helping to organize in Edmonton for 2026. And this is where you see an entire new world of technology and having all of these discussions, far more than I can discuss in 1 hour. I'll give you an example of something that has happened through ITS Canada, through the Tech Hub. This is great. This is This is a simulation with virtual reality goggles. I'm not showing you the full simulation, but you can put on these virtual reality goggles and look around. So this was built in 100 days in a collaborative project through ITS Canada with the ITS Canada Tech Hub. And it's from City of Montreal you're looking at with Esri Canada, Synexus, Microsoft, all partnered together to build this. What it's doing is taking open street data or open data in simulating the traffic conditions for various situations. And what's neat is you can put on your glasses and go, let's take a drive through this roadway with this current data. Or what if instead of driving, I try this as walking or a wheelchair or try it in a bike? What if I take away one lane? What if I add a bus route here? What if I, and make multiple changes to this and using real-time virtual reality to be able to do something neat. And that's what again, one of the things I love about ITS Canada is bringing multiple people together, building something like this in such a short amount of time. A City of Toronto and Halifax are looking at this as well, be able to, for their purposes, to use this for planning, for communication, be able to help people understand what it would be like, for example, to try to use the sidewalk with in a wheelchair, and whether or not it's and what the noise is like, and trying to cross the street based on the amount of traffic. This is not something you get from that top-down view, and it's not something you get from a report. I love things like this as well. So yeah, just thought I'd show you something cool from the world of ITS Canada as well.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's a great information, and we definitely recommended people to, learn more from this, from the ITS events in the future. I think based on the time limitation, that's probably the end of today's webinar. Thank you so much, Yitlan, for your presentation, and it was amazing, and we learned a lot from you. And also our section, we appreciate everyone's participation today, and please stay tuned for our future events, and we will keep in touch. Wish everybody have a great afternoon and the rest of the week. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, keep in touch.